I'm Bowrain and you're watching TMS Live.
Hello, Shanghai. Welcome to our TMS Live. And today we are honored to join by our Bowrain at our singer space. Yeah, you've been writing and composing music for a long time now, and your sound has been changed significantly. Do you want to talk about your journey about this?
Yeah, I've been doing that for more than 15 years, even more than 15 years actually, 15 plus.
Yeah.
But Bowrain brand, let's call it like that, it exists for 12 years. The first album was very electronic, and then it went more into kind of cinematic music, and then more jazzy style came into Bowrain, and now the last album, Million Homes, I could say it's more alternative indie. Although it's very difficult to talk about styles when you talk about your own music.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost impossible. But at the end, it's more about which tools do you use to make music. If you use more electronic sounds, then your music will sound more electronic. But if you write music for an ensemble and then it's performed live, then it will sound maybe more jazz or more classical. So it's more about the tools.
I was about to ask you, how would you describe your genre, about your music, especially this new album?
I'm very different when it comes to a live act and when it comes to studio album. My studio albums are, I would say, they are more like books, more like introverted, more like detailed and not intimate. Yeah. And my live act is more open to improv. So I studied jazz, and I come from jazz background. I studied in Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I studied jazz piano, so I'm used to improvise on stage.
Yeah.
And somehow when I do the studio albums, it's much less improvised.
Yeah, it's so different.
Yeah, it's different.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I should stop doing studio albums. Maybe I should just perform live.
Because you more enjoy the way you perform live shows and everything.
Well, live act is a very tricky area because it can be also very difficult.
Yeah.
You can be at the place where the sound is not ideal, and you have to make a show. But the great thing about live act is that you have an audience, and you play for someone, and someone gives you back with the applause, and you feel the connection. So
you've been promoting your new album, A Million Homes. Can you tell us more about your album? Where did it record it, and who did you collaborate with?
So it's a very long journey. Yeah. With this album, I started writing it during COVID. Yeah. Most of the songs were written during COVID, but they stayed, let's say, in my drawer as sketches. They were never finalized until 4 years after 2020, when the COVID started. Yeah. Because in the meantime, I had other projects, and I was very much afraid of this album because I had to sing. And I had to record my voice, and I had to be also the lyrics writer, which I haven't been before. So it was a new task. It had to grow, and I also collaborated with the writer Noah Charney. He's American writer living in Ljubljana. He was my writing editor, let's say. Then I collaborated with the Slovenian music producer Vid Ahačić. You will not know because he's not famous as a producer. He's more of a sound engineer. Some part of actually the piano parts were recorded in Berlin, most of it was done by me and Vit Ahacic, the co-producer.
Yeah.
So all the instruments except piano and voice are digital, are not performed live, but we used sound libraries to make it.
The name A Million Homes is intriguing. How did you came up with that name, and what does it like explore all the themes like in the album?
It talks about migration. It talks about also war. It talks about let's say it has serious topic, but it likes to bring it with optimism towards the end. So the last song, Bright Eyes, kind of takes it more towards brightness, I would say.
Yeah.
But Million Homes is like a direct call towards migration, because nowadays with the situation in the world, like, but then everyone can of course interpret
in a different way
on their own way.
Yeah. That is so cool about it. Like, you know, like music can give you so many give people so much space to interpret it like in their own way. And
yeah, exactly. That's why the lyrics are the best lyrics, I think, are the ones that are not so direct, are more like abstract, so it makes you imagine whatever.
Yeah, like as you mentioned, the world like is so unsettling right now. I would like to know, like, do you have any ways, or like, how do you find a peace of mind when you're doing music, like with the world situation right now?
Maybe it's not really possible to have a peace of mind in the current situation. When I go to my studio or when I play a concert, I feel healed. And it's great that I can heal others as well, you know, like let's say through a concert.
Yeah.
And for me, this is like a necessary healing, and also it disconnects me from the social media, from the internet. So it's just about the sound. It's so minimal at the end, you know. But when you talk about peace of mind and being a performing musician, it's almost impossible. I mean, it is impossible to have a peace of mind, because you have to be a promoter, you have to be a performer,
manager.
You have to be a manager, you have to be
oh my god,
you have to be a composer, you have to be maybe a singer, you have to be a producer.
When it comes to performing, not only like we talk about promoting ourselves and stuff. So now you're touring by yourself, solo. Yeah. Would you prefer actually, you know, performing by yourself, have more control, or actually have collaborators perform with you?
100%. I would like more to perform with others, but financially this was impossible at the moment. I had to explore China because it was on my to-do list for a very long time.
Really? Welcome.
Yes. It's much nicer to have a team, to have your own sound engineer, to have your own visual artist, to have a band. Recently, Million Homes, like the premiere, the first show of Million Homes happened in Ljubljana. There was 18 musicians on stage. There was light, there was video projection. It was really majestic, and I would love to do that in China, but it takes a lot of production and resources to do something like that. So, but now I'm alone on a solo tour, and I'm exploring the scene.
So when it comes to collaboration, like, do you have a setup line like with different art, or do you prefer to have, you know, constantly like collaborating with different artists?
People come and go, but some people are there for a very long time, and most of them are now in Slovenia, because I'm based there since 2016. I was based in the Netherlands between 2004 and 2016, so I had collaborators there. More and more I'm finding the ones with whom you can build a long-term connection. I think then it becomes a bit like a band, and that's important.
the individuals has different chemistries, and if you take more time with them, the chemistry changes, right? It's different.
Exactly. Yeah, and the trust.
Hi. Can you see the visual?
Like, her name is Ursha Chuk, and she's from Ljubljana, and she's brilliant video artist, and we just started working together. For sure, it's gonna be a long collaboration because I feel that it's exactly what my music needs.
I love the fact that you would bring up the people you know back scenes you work with, collaborated. Like, for example, like visuals, you would just like tell people like, hey, this artist and we collaborate, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel like that's really such a respect for artists. Where's your favorite place to perform? Like jazz venues or live houses or theater?
It depends. It depends on the sound and on the vibe of the venue. So it can be different. My wish right now is to play in more like a classical hall, and to have something written for an ensemble. So to be less of a electronic but more of a acoustic performance with electronics. Let's say in Ljubljana we have Galus Hall. It's like the main concert hall.
How did you enjoy like Lincoln Center last time?
It was cool. It was cool. Yeah, like it's very different because I'm a pianist, and when I have acoustic piano or when I have a keyboard, it's like you can't compare it. Acoustic piano is always warmer and always much more pleasant to play.
What's next for Bowrain? Will you continue to touring or like working on some new materials?
I would like to tour more. I would like to tour in the Balkan area more.
Yeah.
There is something coming up in Croatia, Serbia, Bosnia. I haven't performed there much, although we used to be one country, Yugoslavia, you know. I don't know what will happen with China. I hope I will come back. I mean, I have to. Maybe in a year or so do a new album.
Yeah.
But I'm not in a rush to make a new one.
Actually, if you have time to stay here a little bit longer, check out different like venues and things, like build your own repertoire here, like offline. It would be nice, right?
I will have some time after I come back from Sanya. I will have like 5 days off, I think.
Oh, our group member, after he listened to your like music, he is so intrigued by the stories behind your music. In general, your music is kind of melancholy, and he's just like kind of wondering if there's a feeling behind it. Like, how do you play around that?
I guess melancholy is inside of me. I would not consider myself as depressed or something, but melancholic, I think that's different. Melancholy is like a sensitivity towards maybe sometimes hard topics, like to look at things that aren't nice in the first place. But I think also I'm always at the very end trying to bring something positive. I'm not too dark, I would say.